fresh seafood and produce, the trendiest of fashions and gift ideas, plus a beautiful seaside setting. It's all part of North Vancouver's Lonsdale Quay Market, our location for this week's edition of Red's Classic Theater. Good evening and welcome to our program. Since opening in 1986, the Lonsdale Quay Market has become one of the most popular locations in the Lower Mainland for shoppers and sightseers alike. And we'll show you more throughout the program. Our movie this week is the 1939 production, The Four Feathers. This was the third of 5 different film versions of the novel written by A.E.W. Mason. Though not the original, our feature tonight is rated as one of the best versions of a story of daring adventure and courage among British Army comrades sent to quell an uprising in the Sudan. And while I'm browsing around the market, why don't you sit back and enjoy Act 1 of The Four Feathers starring Ralph Richardson. We're on the scene this week at the Lonsdale Quay Market in North Vancouver. It's easy to get to from downtown Vancouver with a quick trip across Burrard Inlet on the sea bus, which arrives right at the market's door. And inside, over 90 merchants greet you with a tempting array of pasta, bakery goods, fresh produce, and gourmet foods. And that's just on the main floor. Up on the second level, Lonsdale Quay Market offers everything from books to bedding and fashions. And there's also a place called Kids Alley, a colorful world of puppets, kites, toys of every kind, even a special play area for small fry. This popular public market also boasts its own hotel. The 57-suite Lonsdale Quay Hotel provides guests with a perfect locale to enjoy a weekend getaway without ever leaving town. And we'll be back with more in just a moment. The outside atmosphere of Lonsdale Quay Market is just as fascinating as what's inside. On a clear day from the Quay's observation tower, you can usually enjoy a superb view of Vancouver's harbor, including tugboats, freighters, and pleasure craft. Across the inlet lies the impressive downtown skyline, and in the distance to the west, the peaceful greenery of Stanley Park. And each Sunday, strolling musicians add a festive atmosphere to the market's surroundings, a most pleasant way to go shopping. And now let's get back to our feature, The Four Feathers. We're on location at the Lonsdale Quay Market this week on Red's Classic Theater. The late 1930s were important years in the development of the British film industry, with some of their finest works being exhibited. For example, at the 1939 Academy Awards, the Best Actor Award went to British actor Robert Donat for his touching performance in Goodbye, Mr. Chips. And that picture also marked the film debut of Ger Garson, who so impressed MGM that they put her under contract and transplanted her to Hollywood. A year earlier, in 1938, Londoner Alfred Hitchcock capped his so-called British period with a superb thriller, The Lady Vanishes, starring Michael Redgrave and Margaret Lockwood. Technically smooth and laced with humorously suspenseful action, the picture foreshadowed the style for which he would become famous in America. Another important British film of the late 30s was The Citadel, made in 1938. It too starred Robert Donat, as well as a main player in our own British movie tonight, Ralph Richardson. Now let's return to our feature movie, The Four Feathers. I'm sitting here at Garibaldi's enjoying a cappuccino in the Lonsdale Quay Market. Time to look at our mailbag. Monica Whipplinger from Lake Cowichan on Vancouver Island requested The Lady from Shanghai starring Rita Hayworth. Now this next letter is a little hard to believe, but it's for real. George Lucas from North Vancouver. I imagine you're a movie fan, George. He requested Dam Busters that starred Richard Todd. Carol Weir from Burnaby requested Cheaper by the Dozen starring Clifton Webb and Myrna Loy. And Beverly Hill from Denman Island, are we into Hollywood names or what? She would like to see The Horse's Mouth starring Sir Alec Guinness. Now if there's a movie you'd like to see or a suggestion of a location like the Lonsdale Quay, write to Red Robinson KVUS TV in Vancouver. That's Red Robinson KVUS TV in Vancouver. Now next Sunday night, we'll bring you the classic romance Enchantment starring David Niven, Teresa Wright, and Farley Granger. And in 2 weeks, great comedy with Fred McMurray and Natalie Wood in the 1950 production, Never a Dull Moment. And now, let's return to our feature movie starring Sir Ralph Richardson, The Four Feathers. We're visiting the Lonsdale Quay Market this week on Red's Classic Theater. Sir Ralph Richardson's distinguished acting career began in 1920, and he rose to prominence in the 30s and 40s, playing the Old Vic Theatre in London. His film career began in 1933, but films always remained secondary to his stage work, and critics generally feel that only a few of his films did justice to his talent. Among those that did were The Heiress, which brought him an Oscar nomination as Best Actor, and the 1952 production, The Sound Barrier. Richardson's forte was playing unassuming, intellectual characters without seeming dull. Some of his other films include Woman of Straw with Sean Connery and The Wrong Box with Michael Caine. Sir Ralph Richardson made a total of 56 films in his career, and he was knighted for his contributions to the motion picture industry. Sir Ralph Richardson died in 1983 at the age of 81. And now let's get back to our movie starring Sir Ralph Richardson, The Four Feathers. We're at the Lonsdale Quay Market in North Vancouver for this week's edition of Red's Classic Theater, and it's time for our movie trivia quiz. 27 years after making The Four Feathers, Ralph Richardson returned to the same geographical area to make another motion picture about the British in the Sudan. Can you name that movie? We'll be back with the answer in just a moment. Here's the answer to our movie trivia quiz. The 1966 film that featured Ralph Richardson in a story about the British military conflict in Africa was Khartoum. The picture starred Charlton Heston in the lead role of the true life account of Britain's attempt to maintain control of its colonial empire in the Sudan. And now let's get back to our movie starring Sir Ralph Richardson, The Four Feathers. Well, that's a wrap for this week's edition of Red's Classic Theater. I hope you enjoyed our visit to the Lonsdale Quay Market and our 1939 classic movie, The Four Feathers. Be sure to join us next Sunday night on Red's Classic Theater for Enchantment, starring David Niven, Teresa Wright, and Farley Granger. In the meantime, if you have a movie you'd like to see or the suggestion of a location, write to Red Robinson KBOS TV in Vancouver. We'd like to thank the merchants at the Lonsdale Quay Market, and in particular, Patty Parenti for their hospitality and for hosting the show. Join us next Sunday night for Enchantment on Red's Classic Theater. Until then, good night and good shopping, everybody.